Shavua Tov, a gute Woche. We are arriving to story number 69 of the Shivchei Shem Tov, called The Holy Brothers Rab Shmelke and Rab Pinchas. The story says, Rav Kadosh Rab Shmelke, the holy Rabbi Shmelke, and his brother Modeinu Harav Pinchas, may their neshamos, their souls, rest in Gan Eden. They were requested at the same time for the rabbinical position to be the Rav of the holy community of Frankfurt am Main and for the holy community of Nikolsburg. Now, the holy community of Frankfurt am Main in Germany was considered a greater, more respectable community than that of Nikolsburg in present-day Czech Republic. So people of both communities could not agree upon to which of the two brothers they were offering which position, Frankfurt am Main or the community of the Kahal Kodesh of Nikolsburg. So they decided to give the offer to both brothers and let them decide which one was coming to which place. Now, also Rabbi Modeinu Shmelke was older than his brother, and he was greatly humble, so he considered that his brother Rab Pinchas was more worthy of the position of Rav of the Keilas Kodesh Frankfurt am Main, and Rab Pinchas considered that his brother, who was older than him, was the right person for the job. So they decided that before they leave for the place, they would come to the Rebbe, the Maggid of Mesrich. Interesting, in the story, he's referred to here as the Maggid Misharim of Keilas Kodesh Mesrich. Maggid Misharim actually give the title, and they would ask for his advice, and whatever the Rebbe would tell them, that's what they would do. Also, they had been studying a passage of the Zohar which was not clear to them, and they needed to understand. When they came to the Rebbe's place, they start arguing before going into the Yechidus with the Rebbe, who will go in first, right? Which of the two brothers is the greater one that should go in first? So the Rebbe said, the Rav of the holy community of Nikolsburg will come in first, since he is the older brother. Here, straightforward, with his Ruach HaKodesh, the Maggid was telling them the answer to the question. The older brother, Rab Shmelke, come in first, you are the Rav of the community of Nikolsburg. Therefore, what he said about his brother being the more appropriate one for the community of Frankfurt was a given. When they came into the Yechidus, into the private audience with the Rebbe, the Maggid began to tell them a story about a Sar, a governor, and his servants and his palaces. And when he finished, what was his minhag, his custom, how to treat them. When he finished telling the story, he told them, Shalom, you can go in peace. And they didn't get a chance to ask about the Zohar, the question they had about this passage of the Zohar. When they arrived at the Chsania, the inn where they would lodge, they start thinking upon the words of the Maggid. They were sure that the Maggid didn't just tell them a story. And they realized he just told them a parable that was exactly related to the question on the Zohar that they have, and they were able to understand it much better. And so is the apparently simple story in the Shivchei Shem Tov. Rav Shmuel Shmelke Halevi Horowitz was born in 1726 and passed away in 1778. He graduated from one of the greatest yeshivas in Lita, and then he became a chassid of the Maggid of Mesrich, and he served as Rav and Rosh Yeshiva and Ritshov and Shinov to finally become the Rav of Nikolsburg, where he would start the Hasidic dynasty of Nikolsburg, which survives until our days. 10 generations later, we have still Nikolsburger Rebbe. His brother Rab Pinchas Halevi Horowitz was born in 1731, passed away in 1806, and he's considered one of the Gedolim, one of the big sages of his generation. As we tell in the story, he was Rav of the community of Frankfurt am Main in Germany, and he was author of great works of halacha, of Jewish law, among which the quote Sefer Afla and Sefer Mekana. The Alter Rebbe mentions this story in his introduction to the Shulchan Aruch Rav, his main work on Jewish law. He mentions it as having taken place not in Mesrich but in Rovno, which is near Kiev, where the shul of the Maggid was found a few years ago, and up to before this war was still standing in that place. I don't know the situation today in Rovno, but that's the place. And so is the story of this week. Next week we'll go back to the Baal Shem Tov himself, as I'm telling the stories as they're in the book. Story number 70 goes back to the Baal Shem Tov. Shavua Tov, a good Woche.